Hi, my name is Jennifer French, and I am coming to you from the Yoga Sanctuary in downtown Punta Gorda, Florida. And today I'd like to share a posture with you, a little exploration of a yoga posture that we call Tadasana, or the mountain pose. Now, the mountain pose is a standing pose, and I'm sitting here in a chair. We could explore this pose seated for sure, but I'm sitting here because I want to point out some parts of the body, some important landmarks that get referenced in Tadasana often. And those are at the soles of our feet. So I'm going to shift and bring my foot up so that I can point out these parts for you. You'll often hear teachers, yoga teachers, talking about the 3 or the 4 points, 3 points or 4 corners of the foot. Both of them are equally fine to reference. Some people just prefer one over the other. But these are the points that we're talking about. You'll hear us talking about the mound of the big toe, that's right here, the mound of the little toe right here, and then the very center of our heel. So those 3 points make a kind of triangle at the bottom of our foot. Now, when we're talking about the 4 corners, we're still talking about the mound of the big toe and the little toe, but then we might talk about the outer edges or the outer corners of the heel, and that makes up the 4 corners. So whichever you hear, no one's not right or wrong, they're just different ways of looking at the sole of our foot. And this is a pretty important part of the mountain pose because we're standing in these 3 or 4 points with real intention. So let's go ahead and explore that. Today's practice is going to look at the mountain pose using props. So I've got 2 blocks here and a strap. So come on up to stand if you're not already. I'm going to move my chair off to the side. If you're a little unstable, of course, you can keep a chair closer to you and use your chair to support you in the pose. I'm going to take these off to the side as well. And before we dive into using those props, I'd like to just explore finding the soles of our feet together and finding a distance between your feet that feels pretty good for you. So maybe bring your hands to your hips and then start to shift back and forth between right foot and left foot. You might even feel yourself moving from the heels to the mounds of the toes. Could even bring your feet a little closer together and then further apart. What we're looking for as we do this is a comfortable distance for your feet. Something that feels like a good base, a good foundation for you. And then we come to settle into stillness. You might look down and notice where your feet ended up, how much distance is there? Is one foot turned out a little bit? What happens when you come to that nice stable foundation? Don't change anything. Just let yourself be there. Notice, and then let your arms relax alongside your body. All right. So now maybe close your eyes or at least soften your gaze. And as you do, begin to notice, let's focus on the 3 points of our foot, of our feet, both of them. And can you feel here where it is that the very center of your heel is making contact with the ground? And then feel where the mound of your big toe and your little toe make contact with the ground. And as you feel those points of contact, might you lift and spread your toes nice and wide, and then allow your toes to relax back down to the ground. Try not to grip or grasp the earth. Let your toes just softly lower back down. And as you really feel where your feet are pressing downward, then begin to bring some strength and energy up into your legs. Feel as though you want to draw the energy of the earth up into your body. You might notice your spine lift a little bit. Try to soften your shoulders and center or balance your head, your skull, right on top of the neck spine. Your arms reach down easily. And then if your eyes are closed, let them open back up. So this is the mountain pose, or Tadasana. It's the foundation of all of our standing poses, maybe all of our poses that we do at all. Right? So I'd like to use some of those props to really emphasize some of the things that I just was speaking about, the strength of our legs, our connection to the earth, these kinds of things. So if you happen to have a block or two blocks, take one of those blocks and let's bring that block to the ground. You'll notice I'm going to have the face side down. I'm taking my strap off to the side here. We won't use that for a while. And then bring your feet into the blocks. I'm coming to the outer edges of my feet. I'm going to slide the inner edge of my foot down into the earth. And I'm catching the block with the inner edge of my big toe mounds, right? And then I'm actually almost shifting or sliding the big toes towards the block, right? I like to lift my heel, pull back with my heels, and then press them back down. And as I catch the block, that really brings a kind of a more awareness into the feet. So I push down and hug in, and then feel here a little bit more lift in your legs and your spine. Root down into the earth, press down into the earth, and lift tall through your spine. Might even notice the crown of your head reaching up a little higher. And after you get a sense of that, soften the grip, right? Soften the action or the activity, and then come to take your second block. And let's bring this second block into the space between our thighs. So now we have one block between our feet. I'll reset my feet. The other block I'm holding with my thighs. And as I do, I'm pulling in towards midline, and ever so slightly, it's not a strong action, very light action, press the block towards the wall behind you. And one thing we want to be careful of is that we don't start to press our knees back. So you might even let there be a micro bend, or the smallest, tiniest little bend in your knees. And then firming your legs, lift up tall once again. Shoulders down, your head balanced, again on top of your neck spine. And notice how that feels. Is there more energy or awareness in your legs? And does that transfer at all into your spine? We'll take a breath or two here together. And then we'll take that block, move it off to the side. And then we'll take our strap. If you happen to have a strap, it's really a really useful tool in our yoga practice. I have mine all set up so it's buckled, and it's a nice big loop. Now, the loop that I measured out is from my heel all the way up to my hip, and you'll see why in just a moment. So I'm going to turn so that you can see from the side just what it is we're doing with our strap. So I'm going to catch my block again with my feet. I'll take the block back between my thighs, and then I'm going to bring the strap behind myself. And as I do, I catch the strap with my hands. I have to shift forward a little bit, 1 foot at a time. I'll lift my heels, and then I'm sliding the strap right underneath my heels. Now we've caught the block with the toe mounds, inner edge of the toe mounds, so that we can press the big toe mound, the little toe mound, and the very center of our heels straight down into the ground. We've caught the block between our thighs, and again, ever so slightly, we're pressing it back towards the wall behind us. And now we've got the strap under our heels. I'll bend my knees a little bit, catch the strap with my hands, and then push into the earth as I extend my legs. And now I feel this really nice upward lift come to the spine. And notice how my shoulders draw back and down. Right? So there's a lift on all sides of the spine. What we tend to do in the mountain pose, We want to get really tall. I often see people lifting their chest and their chin up towards the sky. What we'd rather have is a softening of the front body towards the back body and a lifting up at the base of the skull so that your chin is more parallel to the ground. Ideally, you can see this in my profile right now. So I push down to lift up. Soften your gaze and let yourself just feel this alignment in your mountain pose, in the Tadasana. Take 3 breaths here together. And then come to relax the actions that you're exploring. You might even release your straps, slide it out from under your heels. Take your block out from between your thighs. We'll set these off to the side. Great. So one of the things that I didn't mention is this upward lift doesn't just come in the front of the thighs, but it comes up from the inner ankles all the way up the very center of our torso. We might call that our plumb line or our central energy channel. There's lots of ways of referring to this. However, I mention it because you might hear in a class someone talking about finding Tadasana in a different kind of pose. So all we're talking about is finding this nice evenness, this balance, this length, this stability of the mountain pose. And we can take that into anything that we do. So that is the mountain pose, that is Tadasana. And I hope that you found maybe some helpful use in integrating the blocks and straps into your exploration of the pose. And if you did like this video and you'd like to see more, give us a thumbs up, maybe subscribe to our channel, and even drop a comment down below. How did this work feel for you? And are there other ways that you like to do your mountain pose? I'd love to hear more about that. So thanks so much for joining me. Have a great day. Namaste.